this is Emma here, and in today's video I have some stories to read. I found this little book, or should I say big book. It's called 50 5-minute tales. It has a hard cover and a very pretty rainbow around the top. The colours are blue, green, yellow, orange, red and purple. And on the front is a clue to our very first story. Can you see? It's a wizard. So let's have a look. I shall read a few stories from this book for you, and then I'll make another video with some more stories from this book, so I hope you like it. So this story is called The Magic Cooking Pot, and this is the picture of the story. Once upon a time, there was a little witch who kept a magic cooking pot in her kitchen. The pot was very magic. It cooked any kind of meal the little witch asked for. But it only worked if the witch cleaned and polished it before each meal with a special yellow cloth smelling of lavender. One day, the little witch had a visit from her brother, a good-for-nothing wizard. He had heard of the powers of the magic pot, and he was quite determined to have it for himself. Naughty man! Especially after he had eaten a tasty meal and he could not be bothered to cook at home. "What will you take for that magic pot of yours?" the wizard asked his sister. "You can have my book of spells," the wizard offered his spell book, knowing perfectly well that not one spell worked properly. "I want nothing from you," said the little witch, who did not really like her brother. "And I don't want you to have my magic pot. It's my favourite magic thing." But that very night, when the little witch was out flying round the moon on her broomstick, the wizard stole the magic pot and made off with it. And as soon as he was home, he set to work demanding that it cook him a meal as good as the one he had eaten in his sister's kitchen. To his surprise and disgust, the magic pot stayed empty. No tasty cooking meal smells came from it, and when he went so far as to turn it upside down, not a morsel of food fell out. Not so much as the tiniest crumb. What could have gone wrong with the magic pot? The wizard asked himself. Of course, he didn't know that he should have cleaned and polished the magic cooking pot with a yellow cloth smelling of lavender. His sister hadn't told him about the cloth, and even if she had, the wizard didn't have one. For a day and a night, the good-for-nothing wizard sat beside the magic pot, commanding it to cook for him. And when nothing happened, and he was so hungry that he felt quite faint, the wizard took the pot and threw it with all his might out of the window. He's naughty. It was very lucky that the little witch was just passing by on her broomstick. She caught the magic cooking pot neatly by its handle on her broomstick. And of course she cleaned and polished it with her yellow cloth smelling of lavender before she asked it to cook her some supper. But whenever her brother came for lunch in the future, the little witch locked the pot away as soon as it had cooked their meal. She's clever. Did you like that story? Okay. Let's see what other stories there are. This story is called Veronica May. Can you see the picture? Veronica May was a rag doll, not very pretty or smart, because Emma's great-grandmother had made her when she was a little girl. But Veronica May had been in the family for years and years. Her homemade face was quite brown with age, though it had been washed and scrubbed 100 times, and her yellow hair, made from some bright yellow wool, was now quite faded and was almost grey with age. Great-grandmother had kept Veronica May for herself. She had sat on a green cushion in the front room, and she always admired her. Then, sadly, great-grandmother wasn't around anymore, and Veronica May found herself thrown into a dark kitchen cupboard. At first, she sat among the dusters on the second shelf. Then someone moved her to the next shelf among old sheets and towels. And then she found herself on the top shelf with the old cups. A long time passed, and then, one day, Emma and her mummy visited great-grandmother's old house. They were on holiday from Canada. "I remember the old house very clearly," Mummy said, "and I remember an old rag doll that your great-grandmother made. She always sat in the front room on a green cushion, but I expect she has been thrown away years ago." Now, Veronica May in the dark cupboard heard this remark, and somehow, I don't really know how, she managed to shift herself to the very edge of that high shelf and topple over. She landed against the door with such a thud that it flew open, and Veronica May tumbled out onto the kitchen floor. Wow! "Well, well, what a surprise!" Emma's mother laughed. "Here is the very rag doll I was telling you about. It's Veronica May. I recognise her even although she has faded a little bit." "Pleased to meet you, Veronica May," said Emma, holding out her arms. "I will give you a cuddle." "You can take her home if you like," said Mummy. "Great-grandmother would be so very happy to know that Veronica May was being looked after by another little girl. If you'd like to, that is." "Of course I'd like to," Emma smiled. "I loved her at first sight when she fell out of the cupboard." So there are no more dark cupboards for Veronica May, and in her new home in Canada, she had a brand new green cushion to sit on. When she wasn't being taken out for walks with Emma, which happened most days. There she is. There they are in the kitchen. I hope you liked those 2 stories. I'm going to find some more and make another video with some new stories. Good night. Sleep well.